All right, everyone. Welcome to Digital Conversations. I am your host, Billy Bateman, and today I am joined by Munish Nepal. Munish, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Billy. Thanks for having me. Excited to be
Yeah,
talking to you.
yeah, excited to have you. We're gonna talk about a few different things, but before we hop into it, I want to give you a chance to let everyone get to know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on.
Sure. My name is Manish, and I'm a freelance content marketer with a little over 10 years of experience working with global brands, mostly B2B brands like Freshworks, Ring Central, and Sales Hacker. I recently launched my own marketing agency bang in the middle of the pandemic, and it's called Marketing Impact. And I started it to scale my one-person freelance business because I think that the demand for marketing related services has gone up exponentially owing to the pandemic, which I think has
Yeah,
forced several people to start their businesses on their own. And up until February this year, 2021, I was running a podcast called the AVM Conversations Podcast with my co host Yag. We covered a lot of topics in marketing the same way you are doing here with digital conversations, Billy. And I decided to move on from that podcast after doing it for a little over a year because I wanted to invest my time and energy on setting up this online agency that I just mentioned. From being a podcast host until 2 months back, here I am today talking to you in your podcast, Billy. That's the story
uh,
of my personal life in less than 30 seconds.
awesome, man, awesome. So, um, one thing let's talk about this for a minute. The shift to a larger demand for digital marketing content with the pandemic. Like it used to be, especially in the B2B world. You'd have your website, you'd be running your digital campaigns, but then you're also got, we're going to trade shows, we're hosting our own events, we're bringing customers in, we're going out and we're, having lunch with them, visiting them, making sure everything's going well. That stopped a year ago and is just starting to pick back up again. But what did you guys see in terms of that shift? Like, did you go from, like a 30% capacity to 100% capacity, or what are your thoughts on that?
Uh, sure. So I'll talk about my personal experience, which I think was a little ahead of the rest of the world. Which is, I started my freelancing career towards the end of 2019, a little
Okay.
before the pandemic hit the entire world.
Yep.
And I think I was lucky because I prepared myself for the lockdown that had to come, the work from home and remote work disruption that happened, just by pure accident. But then I think I hit a lottery because of the pandemic, because I was looking for clients. Obviously, when you are a freelancer, the number one problem that you have to solve for yourself is you have to find clients. And all of a sudden, when the pandemic hit and everybody was house arrested inside their houses, I started, freelancing businesses, freelancing requests for content and marketing started falling into my laps from left and right. And I think that happened from maybe 10% to 30% personally for me, because I wasn't expecting that much of a work. I mean, I was kind of going through a burnout phase in the middle of 2020 because of the kind of work I was getting. And I owe it mostly to the situation that we were in, because a lot of businesses, they started ramping up their digital marketing campaigns. I think a lot of businesses went through a situation where their ad budgets were taken away from them. The campaigns came to an abrupt halt, and the
Hmm.
only way that they could go forward was through organic content. They
Yeah.
had to do something on the organic front, which cost them less and had long-term ripple effects. So that's where I think the demand for the kind of marketing that I offered scaled from maybe 20 to maybe 10 to 30, 40%. That's
Awesome.
been my experience.
Awesome. So going back to that idea of content, every business, if you're not doing some content, you should be if you've got a website. But what are some of the best practices that you found in your experience for writing good content? Should you be focusing, some questions that come to mind, and you can just take these, or should I be writing, short articles and posting them every day or a couple a week? Should we focus more on long form content? Is it video? Is it written? Like what do you recommend as the best practices if you're just starting to really, pay attention and be purposeful in your content marketing?
Sure. So I think content, the answer to world's most difficult questions is more or less always it depends, and
Yeah.
seems the case here because marketing and content is something that depends on which stage of business growth you're at, what kind of brand and what kind of domain are you in. So it depends, but if we you know if I have to lay down general principles of how to create good quality content, which is a must for all kind of business, I don't care if you are a mom and pop shop or an enterprise software company, you have to do content because it is the number one way to get on top of your customers' minds. Uh, and the variety or the type of content is secondary. What I think should be the starting point for businesses to start creating high quality content that ranks and that attracts the right kind of person, right kind of people to your brand is you have to treat content like a product in itself. You have to plan it, you have to prepare it, you have to package it, and then you have to promote it. But most of the brands that I think are, they're doing a mistake by seeing content as a commodity that they use to game the search algorithm. They're writing for the machines and not people. So I think that's number one mental roadblock that they have to get past. The other thing is when it comes to actually executing and shipping the content out, this is very simple formula of how to get started and how to scale it to where you want to be, which is it's called the EAT framework, which is
Okay.
EAT. The E in the framework stands for educational, A is for authoritative, and T is just being trustworthy with the audience. And it might not be necessarily for me to expand on this, but educational content teaches people how to, achieve something or how to do something. So how to guides are a perfect example. Authoritative content establishes the brand as expert of the domain that they operate in, and trustworthy content establishes their credibility on what they are saying. It's the kind of data and science that is verifiable in the content, right? So if you can fit your content into any of these or all of these buckets, I think you are doing a pretty good job at producing high quality organic content that will give you high payoffs in the long term.
Awesome. Awesome. So I want to dig in on a few of those things. Like, so with the educational portion of that framework, what do you guys recommend? Because there are a couple ways you can approach this. Like, are we going to educate people on our product? Are we going to educate them on the industry? Are we going to educate them maybe just on other related things to where we play as a business? So, where do you think you get the most bang for your buck? I know the answer is probably do a little bit of all of it, but if I'm just going to do one type of educational content, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it, to keep it aligned with what stage of the funnel you want customers to be in. For example, in general, I would recommend you keep it customer centric. You keep it oriented to your customers because we should never forget that customers are the heroes of our stories. It's not
Yep.
you or it's not your brand. It's always the customers. So being authoritative is an opportunity to establish yourself as the expert in that domain. Yes, but it's not really an opportunity to blow your own trumpet, right?
Okay.
It should still be done in a way where you make customers the center of your world. I mean, the best kind of marketing, the best kind of content out there never feels like they're selling something to the customers. They don't
Yep.
feel like marketing, right? So it's about building that kind of perception. And I think the brand centric content is definitely a good thing to happen, but I think it fits nicely in your scheme of things towards the bottom of the funnel and not top. I think the
Yep.
top of the funnel, middle of the funnel should be generally kept with customers' interest in mind. You have to try to solve their problems. You have to answer the questions about what keeps them up at night, what do they want to achieve in their lives, and how to make their lives easier in general. And
Yeah.
a good metaphor I've heard about, around this topic is your customers are like, your customers are like Batman. They're the hero of your story, right? And they want a
Yeah.
sidekick, and it's not the kind of sidekick that Robin was. Robin was a good sidekick; he was very reliable and all that. But I think brands should behave like Alfred, the Batman's family's butler, who was more
Yeah.
of a coach, a mentor,
Yep.
someone who was a selfless guide, and someone that Batman looked up to, in difficult times. So
Yeah.
I think brands should behave in that way, and keep a balance of being brand centric as well as customer centric. But I think the balance should tilt more or less towards customers in general.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Have you ever read the Building a Story Brand book?
Oh
Um,
yes, yes, yeah.
and I
That's
mean,
a
that's
nice
what
one.
they
Great
talk
one.
about is we're supposed to be, like the Obi-Wan, like the guide to Luke,
Right, right.
and help our customers be the hero.
Yep.
And I've never thought about, hey, how do we do that with our content? But great, I love it, man. We should be. If you're not doing it, we should be. So I wanted to dig into something related to content. You used to be at Freshworks, and
Yep.
you spent a lot of time working with their bots, and how you
Yes.
use bots with content. So I wanted to ask you, what do you guys what have you found is like, hey, here are the best ways to use bots for both lead gen and for just customer support?
Sure. So yes, I was working with a team within Freshworks. Freshworks has like 9 or 11 products right now, and I was
Yep.
with FreshChat, the chat messaging software that they had, and it was very interesting for me to work in a product like that because it was the perfect tool that solved business problems across the funnel. I mean, it started with
Yeah.
marketing, sales, and then support and retention also, right? So I think it's when it comes to chatbots or creating the right kind of chatbot experience. What I learned from my experience working with FreshChat was it's important to understand what chatbots stand against, which is, I think, it's the static lead gen forms or pop-ups
Yeah.
that are right on your face. So I think chatbots kind of uh, are antidote to those kind of bad experiences that customers had. So in that sense, chatbots should be interactive. They should present your brand personality. They should be very contextual, highly contextual. I think that's one of the number one skills that chatbots should have, and that's why I loved personally. I loved answer bots, which was very contextual to what I was looking. It was very specific in offering help, and it should be perpetual in the sense that it should defer the traffic and the load of tickets from the support team. If it's a if you are using chatbots for the support use cases, I think it should yeah, also for sales and marketing. Actually, I mean, we used it for marketing and sales and customer support, mostly for customer support. But I remember we promoted the hell out of our content through chatbots on our page because
Yeah.
whenever we had lead magnet content, I think it was one of the strongest channel for us to get those, at least spread the word about that content or get those content out through the chat widget. Because if people are on your website and they are looking for specific answers to their queries, I think they have a high buying intent, a high purchase intent for whatever they're looking, and it's the
Yep.
right time to give them something that can answer the questions. So that's one principle that was really close to our best practices in fresh chat.
Awesome, man. So I want to dig in on the idea of promoting content through the bot. That's something I've seen our customers and our consulting team works with customers on doing, and we found to be very successful.
Yes.
Um, so I just want to let's dig in. Like, what were you guys doing? What tactics can somebody use to promote content within a chatbot?
So I think it was very tightly integrated with the other kind of content that we were populating through chatbots.
Okay.
Yeah, the marketing content was just one small part of it. Again, based on the context of what the customer was looking for. For example, if
Yeah.
they were in our blog page, if they were looking for certain specific answers, we triggered different content for different people. I mean, sometimes if they were on a blog page where they were looking for customer support tips, we would maybe recommend another similar blog,
Yeah.
just like the recommended for you kind of snippets that you
Yeah.
have towards the bottom of the blogs.
That's
We
what I
are
love.
popular. Yeah, we triggered those kind of content for through the chatbots. Again, only with their permission, we would have AnswerBot do that interaction initially. And for people who are on our sign up page, or who are about to take the product for a spin, they're about to take a free trial of the product, we maybe gave them an ebook or something that was closer to the context of what they were looking for. So
Yeah.
those were different tactics. And the other kind of use cases that we have seen, when they were, for example, in the support page, or for example, if they were looking for support related use cases, we would trigger self-service content, which and also knowledge based content, because I think that would answer. And our data also showed that people, customers coming to our pages, they loved getting answers, figuring out answer on their own rather than talking to a human agent, until the
Yep.
problem called for talking to a human agent. So self-service content was evergreen. It was one of the most sought after pieces of content, and I think chat widget was the perfect place for us to kind of trigger that. FAQs were a second favorite, and knowledge base definitely, mostly for existing customers or trialing customers.
Awesome, man. I agree on pretty much everything you said. I love using the bot to suggest content to other people. I think, we can always, from a sales and marketing standpoint, we always want them to, chat with us or book that meeting, book the demo right now. Most people aren't ready for that when they're on the site, at least the
Yeah,
first time or two. A few are like, hey, I need answers. I need answers now. I'll talk to somebody.
yeah,
But most people, they're just starting to check it out. They're early on. They're probably not even the decision maker. They're just gathering some
exactly.
information. And using the bot to provide content based on based on where they are on the site is another one. Another play that we've seen done is asking people what their role is when they come to the site initially on that homepage, and then depending on you probably have 3 to 5 personas that are part of your buying process and your customer base. Well, you have some content for those guys, and if they say I'm a
Exactly.
sales rep, boom, here are 2 or 3 articles you might like. Um, I'm a manager. Here's another article, something new from our blog. And we had a lot of success with that and just getting people
And
involved.
And that's another thing. I think you reminded me of another very strong use case is for sales team who were already, the humans from the sales team who started a chat, or maybe it was a business development team member who was, trying to interact with a customer, trying to help him or her figure out the right answer. They would use the chat, not necessarily the chatbot, but they would use the chat visit as an window of opportunity to provide the right kind of content for people who are looking to compare fresh chat with say another competition, intercom or drift. So we had sales enablement documents that were not being widely extensively used. People were not being able to find it on their own, although it was right there under the resources section. So the salespeople, if the customer interaction was escalated to a human agent, they would use the opportunity to send them documents that specifically talked about the comparison that they were looking for, the price comparison, the feature comparison, the benefits of switching from this product to that, and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that's also very important. And the way I look at it, what you just explained, Billy, is it's just like, the chatbot interaction mimics our real world experience of going inside a store, right? I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes we go inside a store and we don't have time. We want the store representative to just, find the product that we're looking for, find the milk or eggs that we're
Yeah.
looking for, whatever it is. But sometimes we just want to hang around. We want to explore the store and the aisles on our own. We want to take our own sweet time. So that's why I said, being contextual is very, very underrated when it comes to creating the right kind of chatbot experience.
Awesome, man. Awesome. This has been great. I really appreciate you sharing everything with the audience. Before we wrap up, if people want to get a hold of you and continue the conversation, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Oh yeah, there's many ways. I mean, I'm very active on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn URL is linkedin.com/, that guy Manish, TheTGUYMANISH. Same thing with Twitter. I'm fairly active there at the rate that guy Manish. And you can just Google my name. I mean, I write blogs, so I should be SEO friendly.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, and we'll chat later.
Yeah, thank you so much, Billy. It's been nice talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.